Welcome back to I'm Looking for Work. In this video we're going to cover the interview. The day's finally arrived and you're going to meet what might be your new boss. Like I said in the preparing for the interview video, you only get one chance to make a first impression, so you better make it a good one. Make sure you're on time, maybe even a few minutes early, but never late. Although it might seem diligent for you to turn up 15 minutes or half an hour early for a job interview, I'd discourage you from arriving any more than 5 minutes before the interview. Employers have more to do with their time than babysit you, and that's about all you'll achieve by turning up early unless you've been asked to. It's rare for interviews to run early and common for them to run late. So taking up space or taking up the employer's staff time before you're expected may not win you any friends. There are times when you'll be asked to fill in an application form upon arrival, and this may need to be done before the interview. I'd suggest that you ask the person booking your appointment and your interview if you'll need to arrive a little bit early to fill in an application form, or if you need to bring one with you that's been filled in already. If you ask this question, you'll be prepared for what will happen when you arrive, and avoid the panic that sometimes comes with being presented with an application form when you arrive. My suggestion is to arrive between 2 and 5 minutes before the interview, unless you've been instructed to arrive earlier, but never arrive late. You could arrive at a location close to the employer's office well before the interview time, maybe somewhere like the employer's car park, a cafe, or a park close by, but make sure you're able to walk in the door of their office right on time or a few minutes early. On the day of your interview, make sure you're prepared well in advance of the time you need to leave. Shower, shave, put on makeup, brush your teeth, go to the toilet and dress well in advance of the time you need to leave. You don't need any last minute oversights to make you late for the interview. You might even consider brushing your hair once again before walking into the interview, just to make sure that you're presented well. If you're a smoker or prone to body odour, consider using a body spray before entering the employer's office. You want to smell fresh and clean upon arrival. As you walk in the door of a potential new employer, it's likely that you'll need to meet and greet several people, and it should be done in the most appropriate way. As you arrive at the front desk, you'll most likely meet an office admin person. Remember from the preparation module, this person is as important as the person you've come to meet. Begin with a polite hello, and if it feels appropriate, ask them how are you today. If you ask how they are, be prepared to be empathetic if they decide to tell you about how bad their day's been though. And if that happens, you could respond to a negative comment with something like how you don't like days like that yourself, but try not to get caught up in a negative conversation. What you then need to do is clearly state your name and that you're here to see the person that's interviewing you. It would go something like this: my name's Jack Smith and I'm here to see Bob Jones. You'll most likely be instructed to sit and wait for Bob to arrive and collect you for the interview. In some cases, you may be offered coffee, tea or a cool drink, and I'd suggest that you decline the offer unless you're an extremely confident person. Certain types of coffee can give you bad breath, and anything else could lead to a spill or a situation you don't want to encounter. This might sound overly pessimistic, but you want to avoid anything that will cause your interview or visit to their office to be anything but perfect. The next person that you're going to meet is the person doing the interview, and they'll most likely lead into the welcome by announcing their name, like, I'm Bob Jones. Your response should simply be, hi Bob, my name's Jack Smith. After this, it's most likely that the employer will take you to an office where you'll be interviewed. At this point, I could tell you 1,000,001 things you could say as an icebreaker that might result in the building of a relationship with the employer. However, I'm going to avoid telling such things because you're now in a very touchy situation. The right words will help you build an invaluable relationship with the employer. However, the wrong comments may spell the end of your interview even before you begin. One thing that usually can't go too wrong is acknowledging awards or things that appear to be of interest to the interviewer. Like if you see a picture in the room of a boat with some people on it, you might ask if it's their boat, and if they say yes, compliment them by saying something like, "Looks like a nice boat, and I bet you get a great deal of enjoyment out of that." This will result in a quick thank you, or, "No, it's not my boat." But don't open this conversation at all unless you're prepared and able to talk to them about the subject you've started talking about. My best advice is to speak when spoken to and accurately and confidently answer the questions you're being asked. Upon completion of the interview, thank the employer for their time and let them know if you're really interested in the job and that you'd be happy to make yourself available for any further questions that they may have. Don't be afraid to ask them at the end of the interview what the next steps in the employment process are, so you can be prepared for future interviews or processes. On your way out of the office, remember to be polite to anyone you come into contact with, and try to say thank you and goodbye to the person you spoke to at the front desk before leaving. Don't hang around waiting to do this, but if you get the chance when passing them, acknowledge them and say thank you and goodbye. Some things that you should make clear and cover while you're in the job interview include letting the interviewer know that you're familiar with what the company does. Let them know that you're flexible and willing to do whatever needs to be done to get the job and perform the role to the best of your ability. Let them know that you have a can-do and very positive attitude. Let them know if you have a great deal of experience and wow them with your talents and skills, but make sure you can back up your statements. Let them know if you already are or want to become an expert in your field. Let them know you're highly motivated and extremely productive. Remember, a job interview is your opportunity to sell yourself to a prospective employer, so make sure you mention the right phrases to give you the best chance possible of getting the job. Just make sure that you can back up every statement you make, because if you lie, you probably won't keep your job for very long. Some things to remember in a job interview. Make sure you're pleasant, speak when spoken to, but don't talk too much. Never ever tell a lie, you will get caught. Make sure you turn off your cell phone before entering the interview and never take a phone call while you're in the interview. And don't trash your previous employer. Explain situations respectfully. As a mark of respect, don't sit before being offered a chair by the interviewer. Don't smoke or drink alcohol in an interview, even if you're offered it by the interviewer. Don't bite your fingernails, fidget, drum your fingers, and try not to show any signs of being nervous even if you are. Don't tell jokes. A job interview is not the time for stand-up comedy. Definitely don't bring your cute little dog on the interview. Pets don't belong in interviews. Make sure you schedule plenty of time for this appointment and don't cut the interview short for another appointment. Don't hit on the receptionist or pass your phone number to a cute guy in the building. Don't give vague answers or tap dance around issues. Definitely don't use foul language. Don't act as if they need you more than you need them. They're the people that are giving the job. Don't ask questions about the pay and benefits of the job unless it's been brought up by the employer. Don't talk too much about your personal life unless specifically asked. There's a couple of big questions that you'll want to know the answers to. Things like, how much does the job pay? What kind of benefits will I get if I work here? How many weeks holiday do you give me each year? They're all good questions, and I'm sure that if you get the job, you'll want to know the answer to each and every one of them before starting work. I'd suggest that these are second interview questions, or questions you'll ask if you're being made a job offer. Never lead with these questions, because you have to give the impression that you want the job, not just the money. Some final words to wrap up this topic. A job interview can be one of the most scary and emotional situations you'll ever put yourself in on purpose. It can be incredibly stressful and you might not like doing it, but it's essential if you're genuinely looking for work. Put yourself in this uncomfortable situation as often as you possibly can, right up until the day that you can say, I got the job. I hope that you've found the topics in this video helpful, and I look forward to sharing more with you in the next video.